All right, I'm back. Actually had a small bite to eat as well. And sadly, within the, I don't know, 30 to 45 minutes I was inside, it started to rain. But I don't know if you can hear it in the camera or not. Okay, so we got the front calipers all mounted up as far as the brackets and everything. The last thing to do for the front is to get the brake line there. But we're gonna wait until we got the rears on first. So to summarize or recap what we need to do for the rear, first things first, we need to clean the surface, get brake parts cleaner. Mind you, we had the caliper loosely bolted up so that we could understand where the position of the caliper needs to be in relation to the pad to rotor fitment. Then after that, we can most certainly get the brake lines all bolted up, all four corners of the car. So, like we did before, we are going to get the brake pads fixed up first before going over there. Matter of fact, what I think I'm going to do is, let me go clean the rotors first before we get started on the pads. I don't want to get too much of my fingers contaminated with grease yet. And we're going to use the packet that came with it. So that's what we'll do first. So hopefully I can turn this relatively easily. Not really well, so we'll do it manually here. The reason why it's not turning as well because it's the, the rear that has the axles and all that stuff. So I don't want to fight it too much, and we'll just do one turn like that. Get the area that I missed. Cool. Let's go get the other side. Okay. Give it a quick turn. All right, so rotors have been cleaned. Let's proceed with getting the pads cleaned as well. And then we'll grease them up. And repeat the process as we did the front. All right, so those are all cleaned. Let's go ahead and get the grease on them. All right, there it is. Okay, so just like that we did in the front, we are applying a very thin film. You don't need a lot. You just need to get a very thin, complete coverage of the back shim plate. It really doesn't take much. And if you look at that, it's hardly anything on there. So let's go ahead and get it spread over there. Okay, that one's done. There's actually not much lube in this packet. I highly doubt it would have been able to cover the front pads. Much larger surface area. A little bit more. right. Okay. Got those coated up pretty good. Again, you just want to make sure you don't have any residual grease on your fingers, because a little bit will spread pretty far. Okay. Okay, so same as before, all 4 pads are the same. All 4 have the schooling tabs, which is great. Let's get the shim, or the, I mean not the shim, but the spring clips here and pins. And before I put the pads down, I think I see a little bit of grease. I'm gonna wipe that off. Okay, let's move on. I think that's it. All right, so let's get the pads in there. And this angle is just terrible, I'll tell you that. Let me get the camera somewhat adjusted. So pads are going in there quite nicely. But they are wanting to fall out. So let's get pins kind of going there first. That way they can hold the rear pad or inner pad in first, as it were. Okay. Okay. All right. So these are definitely easier than the fronts, just because it's just a lot less. But the problem I'm already seeing is that, you know, pin situation. You have to somehow get past the control arm. It's definitely fighting me pretty good. Let me see if there's a better way of doing this. Let me get my small ball peen hammer, because I think I'll be able to get a smaller, like, you know, swing on that and hit it. I think the crow foot in the back of the hammer was hitting things. Oh yeah, that's way better. Let's see if I can. I think it's better anyways. Not really. I feel like I'm beating the tar out of it. What I'm gonna do is just raise the car up. That way I can swing like up with it, with the chisel, you know, the punch, center punch, and be able to hit that way. The Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna be marring up all the paint of the caliper on the inside. Okay, so if you see what I'm talking about, like it's really hard to hit that pin with a controller arm as it is. So what I'll do, now that we got underneath it basically, is I'll get the punch like that, if you can see, and hold it, and hopefully I can drive it in that way. Maybe not. It's just awkward as hell right now. Not sure if you guys can see that. Well, I have a bigger punch. Let's go over here and look at it. It's actually an old extension. I actually found this at a junkyard already kind of like this. I'm like, oh, that's just perfect. So I use this as like a hammering extension. There we go. Here, sorry, I guess you guys can't see that. You see that now. There we go. So, if you got that, it's in there now. That's right there. So, before we lower the car back down, let's get the other pads in and repeat that. Because we'll definitely have to do the same. Alright, let's see if you guys can see. So I get the pins kind of set up a little bit. I don't know if you can see, but just give me a moment. Get this installed and get the car lowered so you guys can resume the viewing pleasure of what we got going on. Okay. There we go. Okay, so let me just hammer this in and then we'll lower the car back down. Okay, got it mostly in. I'm just gonna use a punch to kind of get it done. Okay, got it. Okay, let me lower the car back down. And we can finish the installation of those pads. These are definitely easier, but with the caliper, how it's clocked down in that position, it makes it very hard to, access the back of it. don't know. Let's. Yeah, that looks good as far as height. Okay, so it's literally the same thing, but the shims are definitely, it doesn't matter which orientation they go. Or not the shims, but the spring clips here, spring brackets. So you put on the pin that you have 100% driven through, put that one in first, and then you want to push it down like that, right? And then slide the pin through it like that, and then hammer the pin through to lock it in. That's all you have to do. So these are definitely easier. I can just get the pin straight. Come on. It's kind of fighting me a little bit. Let's see. Come on. Oh, I see the problem. It's the pin kind of getting stuck on the caliper edging, or not the caliper, but the pad edging. It's just kind of hard to see. I think I got it just now. Come on. It's going just slowly but surely. You can see that the pin is correctly coming through. It's just I can't get a good swing at it and aim correctly. Not sure what more I can do from this weird angle, you know? Yeah, it's just not there yet. I'm gonna take a look at it. Oh, it's all messed up. the end of it's completely like mushroomed out. What the heck? Why did that happen? No wonder. Somehow I have to get the pin extracted. Yeah, still work. Let's take a look at that pin. It's all jacked up. See? That's not supposed to happen. My guess is that the compression fitting on top wasn't like correctly set. Whether that's my fault or a manufacturing flaw, but that's why I like to have spares and stuff like this. I just thought I had an open one earlier. Alright, well, I'll just steal one from this bag. Okay. No, thankfully I have a spare. And hopefully it doesn't happen again. That's kind of messed up. Okay, let's try that again. I just can't get a good swing on that. Well, at least now it's not like all jacked up, but can't get a good. Well, let me get the other side in as well, like set up, and then we'll see if raising the car up we'll have another vantage point for putting the hammering the top pin in, you know. Okay, so it's kind of set up. Let's see if I can get it. So definitely the same thing as before. I can't get a good successful, you know, hit on it. So let's see if raising the car will give me a different ability to hammer that last pin in. So if you look, That's the pin right there, and I've already beaten the crap out of the caliper. But there's the pin, and obviously the same thing right there. No damage yet to the pin like the other one. So how do I get a good swing on that? It's kind of hard, you know? Trying to figure out some weird strategies here. Might have something here. Hold on a second. I think I might be able to use my extension drive and use a hammer through the gap of the controller arm. Let me just try this real quick and I'll show you. Nope. Let's see here. Boy. I'm almost tempted to like get a C-clamp and try to just press it on, you know, but all right, well, I just got the other one on just by simply hammering at it. That one's in. Let's try this again. It's just a weird angle. Good grief, I got one. Oh no. Half tempted to maybe swing down the caliper by loosening the bolt and just let it kind of drop down for a quick minute. And just to get a vantage point on it, you know? I can't get a direct blow on that pin. Really frustrating. So it's the only thing I can really think of without getting too aggravated is to let it drop like that. See that? It's kind of hanging now by one bolt. Now I should be able to get the hammer and finish it off with the drive. Let's see. Even then, it's proven to be quite difficult. I think I got it. I think I got it. I just want to kind of double check and do a couple more hits. There we go. Now it's in there. Just saw it go home. Okay. Kind of want to just double check the other one. Yeah, the other one's flush, so we got it for sure. All right, well,
extremely aggravating, guys. But as a theme of tonight's, or not tonight, but this whole project has been, you know, part of the journey. Getting this stuff just to, you know, getting things to work out. It's just, you know, figuring it out and making do. So, getting the caliper. There we go. Okay, so frustratingly, we got the caliper. All the calipers loaded with pads, and now we need to center the rear calipers for the correct, you know, pad to rotor contact. And we'll do it on the other side first. Let's see. Okay, that's a good angle or viewpoint there. All right. So if you look, like we can move the pad or the caliper out inwards and outwards, you know. So what I'm seeing here, let me loosen up the caliper a little bit just to show you, because the lock washers are kind of getting a little hold on it. Okay, so, you know, we can go in, right, or out, in or out. And I think in this situation, with how I'm seeing it, they just need to go all the way inward for the 100% pad contact. So what I'm going to do is, you know, do that and then show you from a different point of view of why you have to go all the way inward and not, you know, not like an in-between. So I'm going to hold it with my arm, like bracing up against it to make sure that the caliper is inward 100%. Okay. All right. Okay, so I think that's all the way inward. And what I'm wanting to see something's not right. So the pads are poking out a little bit from the rotor. And it's not like all the way in, and you can see how there's a small gap right there, or like a, not a gap, but the pad is not in full bite. I think the only way to fix that is there was a little bit of slop in the two holes for the Nissan pattern, so I just kind of bolted it up thinking no big deal because there'll be enough slop in the caliper itself. But it looks like I need to remove everything, or at least swing down the caliper a little bit, and then reset the bracket. That kind of sucks. I'm not really a fan of these brackets either. Come on. So these brackets were, for the rear, these were 140 bucks, and they're just laser cut metal that were powder coated, and I paid $140 for those. You know, it took over 3 weeks to get them. I get that the holiday was a thing and people were probably doing holiday stuff, but the fact that there's so much amount of wiggle room here, and the pads are not making full contact, and it didn't come with bolts, I think kind of got taken for a run there, you know? It's kind of frustrating. So now, usually I'm really calm and collective when I'm doing this type of stuff, I'm kind of getting a little irritated right now, because I don't like to, like when I buy stuff for my cars, like I usually know exactly what I'm getting myself into. And I just honestly, I don't remember doing this type of finessing with the 89. Maybe I did. I don't remember, to be honest with you. But this is becoming quite the ordeal. I know when it's done, it'll be done and I'll be happy, but I'm getting a little annoyed that I have to, you know, make all this work. Now again, like my rear setup is technically a Z32 setup. So anything made for the Z32 should just magically work for this setup. And the fact I'm having to go through so much back and forth on all this stuff is a little getting a little old here. Had I known I could have pulled the pads off as I did here, or the calipers, I would have not have beat my calipers as much as I'm doing now. So what I'm saying here now is that I need to loosen these bolts and slide in the bracket inward as much as I can, so that the pads are having their, you know, most potential opportunity to grip the rotor. Okay. So let me show you what I'm talking about. See how much room and wiggle play there is? All right. And actually I saw it move inward quite a bit. Okay. So before I finally tighten it, I want to do another hit here to make sure it's all the way in. All right, tighten this one up one more time. All right. Thought we were in the final stretch, the home run here. Apparently not. Just bear with me for a quick second. Okay. One threaded up pretty good. Almost there. Okay, so we're gonna try this again. I think I see something here interesting. All right, I think I need to grind more material away from that center. I think that's what it's hitting and preventing it from going inward more. So let me just, yeah, that's what's happening. All right, well, we have to do that. Take it back off, to grind out more. And you know, when you remove material away from these calipers or any brake kit that you have to modify and get things to happen, you know, you want to remove as little as possible, like the bare minimum. So in this case, I was being ultra conservative with how much I wanted to remove. And apparently kind of bit me in the butt here. But you know, when I, again, kind of venting some frustration here, 140 bucks, no instructions, no hardware, no how-to. I did look at their website earlier today before I came out, just to make sure, like, hey, do I have to grind stuff off the caliper? No mention of that. So yeah, the question is, do I recommend this bracket? What sucks is, it's like, I mean, I don't recommend it, but at the same time, it's where else can you find one, you know? If there was another place to get one, I would have definitely bought it, but I was kind of at the mercy of the one guy who makes them. You know? So what we're gonna do, now that we know we're facing a challenge of pad engagement and we're getting bottomed out on the what I've removed, we are going to pull off the rotor. We're going to put the caliper back on. I don't know, guys, this is, something's up here. Because, you know, like, ideally we want to be able to utilize the maximum play here, and concerningly, I don't know if we'll be able to hit it with the, because if you see, like, what I'm trying to get at here is I notched all that out, and the pad is now like at the same depth. Now maybe I need to get out more material on either side of that dip there, but let's determine that here in a minute after I get this threaded up and see where the discrepancy is here. You know, I should have figured this out earlier before getting happy calling it ready to go. And if you're gonna ask the question, well, does it really matter? It really, truly does. You're gonna have a situation where the pad is not gonna wear evenly. So if you look, let me finish bolting it up and you'll see what I'm talking about. And by the way, the reason why my GoPro batteries are going by quickly is because I have the back display on so I can see what you're seeing, just to check and make sure that I'm not having the camera at a weird angle, you know. All right, so it looks like there's more material to be removed here. Let me get it a little more tightened here so you can see. Sorry, just bear with me. Okay, so yeah, I got it loose enough. All right, so I want to push it that way, straight inward towards the hub. Now it's hitting, there it is, you can see it, it's hitting right here. I got plenty of room up top up there. It hasn't quite bottomed out towards the pad yet. And you know, when the pad comes inward to squeeze against the rotor, the pad's not going to come anywhere near that bolt. So the pad's not the problem. I'm going to remove more material here because we got a problem. So I'm going to get my Sharpie. I'm going to mark which direction, orientation that I need to remove more material. We'll do it with my Dremel so I can have, you know, some control. So basically how I'm seeing it is like, you know, right there. And how much more? Quite a bit. Like I see another, I don't know, 5-7 millimeters of adjustment I need to, or material I need to remove to gain adjustment. And it's gonna be the same on both sides. So we'll get this one done first, and then we'll go to the other one. So at least we figured it out, but I wish it came with instructions to say that. Now, again, I've done this before, but it was like 10 years ago. And I don't know, I think 10 years ago, the guy making the same bracket, you would think that he would have instructions by now. So no, I don't necessarily recommend you run these brackets unless you watch this video and you can see the crap I'm going through here of getting this done. Because now we have a problem with metal shavings possibly getting on the pad, so I have to remove the pads. Fun. And do this side again, you know. So let's do that right now. Okay, just stay there. Okay. Definitely annoyed. Just kind of thinking out loud. I'm gonna go in, like I said, 5 to 7 millimeters more, probably 5, because there was about 3 millimeters away from the pads being good. So I'll take 5 out, and I'll come out to that black edge right there, if you can see that. So 5 inward and about 5 outwards to there. I think what I'm going to do to accomplish that quickly and effectively is use my die grinder, the big one, because we can be here all night with my Dremel. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is take this edge to the edge of the piston there and come across, straight across, then take out that little black edge I've marked. And that should get it. I think my die grinder was over by the compressor. Now, just a fair warning, the die grinder is loud. I don't think it's going to be annoying on a camera situation. Where is it? Oh, it's in a different drawer. But it's just going to be loud, by the way. Where is it? I was using it just the other day. Don't you hate it when you misplace something? Come on, where is it? Not there. It should be in this drawer right here. Ah, where's my die grinder? Sorry guys, I'm kind of getting a little flustered right now. I'll have to check my other toolbox and see if it's in there. Maybe I accidentally put it down here. Not there. Let me check the, oh, it's over here. I know where I put it. Pretty sure I was using it over here just the other day. I just thought I left it here. And by the way, if you're looking right there, that is the VK56 I finally finished building for a guy. It's all palleted, ready to go. Fully forged built, same one. Essentially, it's a clone of what's in the wide body. Oh, for goodness sake, I'm looking right at it. All right, getting a little flustered as you can tell. All right, here's my die grinder. Let's get going on this. We're wasting too much time as it is. So you always want to, with your pneumatic tools, use a little bit of, gotta put oil in there to keep things lubricate internally. You'll wear it out quick if you don't. All right, like I said, it's loud, so just kind of help me go through this, you know. Your WD-40. A little bit more line. You can see what I'm talking about, where the bit collects aluminum, and when you see that, it's just time to add more WD-40. Almost there. I think I got the depth I want. I'm gonna take the my flap disc and clean this out a bit more. GoPro's about to die, so let me do this one more time. Almost. All right, that's looking better. Let me clean it up. Okay, let me change out the battery before it dies. All right, give me 1 second. All right, let's get the flap disc. Okay. We're definitely going to have to apply more brake lube on the back of those pads again. Okay. Okay. See what I mean? What happens when you... It's dirty, it's not messed up, it's just dirty, but still irritating that I did not want to have the potential of the caliper stickers getting dirty or messed up. We'll be all right though. Just do a quick wipe down, clean things up. Yeah, always use rubbing alcohol when you're cleaning your calipers. If not that, then just like not WD-40, I'm sorry, Windex, or yeah, Windex works pretty well with cleaning calipers. They say, you know, brake parts cleaner, but brake parts cleaner will eat the paint right off. Okay, so before I put the pads on there, I just want to go back to test fitting. I want to see that we have full range of, you know, of that slot there to make sure the pad is in at full contact. You know, if I had it my way on these, I would make it so the slot is not as, you know, wide as it is. It's very like decepting, you know, of how you are led to think that it's okay having a minimal amount of media or material removal, when in actuality you really need to hog out quite a bit, you know. There, like a lot. I think that's it. So let's get the pads in there and see if we did it this time. Freaking lot of work, guys. Now, I'm very grateful and fortunate to have a lift to be able to do this while, you know, standing up. My back, if you didn't know, I have a very messed up back. I have 6 bulging discs, 2 are herniated, and the third one in the middle is on its way to being herniated. I have degenerative back disease. So my point is, I can't sustain a lot of this stuff for very long without having to take a break. You know, and I can't do this on the ground anymore with jack stands and a floor jack. Not to sound like first world problems, but I just can't do this sitting down or laying down my back. It just hurts too much. So all I'm saying is, I'm grateful to have a lift to be able to do all this, but at the same time, lessons learned here is make sure you get everything done the first time around so you're not wasting precious energy, you know, of your body's energy to do stuff. Feels good. There's not much more of this grease left in this packet. No way is this enough to do the front pads. All right.
Kind of thinking how I want this. I have a towel. I'm going to use a towel as my little buffer pad here, so I don't mess up the face of the caliper. Okay, so we get the pads on there. Like so. Now I'm not going to hammer this one in quite yet. Or no, I will do this bottom one first, and I'll do that second one after I get the spring bracket thing in there. Okay, it's all the way in. There's that shim thing. Okay. Much easier, huh? Not fighting with it under the car. All right, so like I said a minute ago, you can see how the pad is actually like higher than what I ground down here. But once the pad comes, like it's pissed, or the piston squish the pad centered, the bolt will definitely clear the pad here. So it won't be a point of concern once you get it bolted up. So let's go see if we fixed it now. Okay. All right, got the bottom threaded. Now it's threading nice and good, you know, with all the removals we've done. All right, let's get the top one. Okay, ready for the magic? Oh yeah. Got it pushed in all the way now. Let's see if I can get that. Actually, is it all the way in? I think that pad might be interfering with that bolt a little bit still. So what I'm going to do is get a flat blade screwdriver and, you know, push the pad inward towards the rotor just to make sure it's not interfering. Because I'm so close to getting this. Yeah, see, it was. The caliper went in a bit more.
Okay, so it looks better. I hope it's good. I want to get it fully cinched up before I tighten it all the way and declare it being good. But yeah, I think we got it this time. Okay. Let's see. Yep, we got it. Let's take a look down here. Oh yeah. Not sure if you guys can see. There. Does that look better? You can see right there that the pad is pretty much level or flush with the edge of the rotor. And same thing right there. You can see that right here, it's perfect. Okay, so we got it. But now we know that we have to do more. And if you guys are watching this and you want to do the same bracket, well, you have to really hog into that material. You know? Did I get it? Alright, so you definitely want to go super tight without the, you know, fear of stripping it, of course, but you do not want that caliper coming loose now. This is why lock washers are so important, because I don't think if I had lock washers on there that I would not be worried about it coming off, you know. Okay, so we're good here. It's ready for the brake line. Let's go ahead and get the other caliper off and do the same thing. But I kind of want to get a visual and mark it for how much I want to do versus just kind of blindly going at it, you know. So if you look right here, let's see, let me loosen a bit. Looks like I actually did a pretty good job on this one, but it looks like it still needs to come off a little bit. The reason why I'm smacking it is because those lock washers have a good bite on it already as far as clamp. So I just need to kind of force it in where I want it to go. Ah, darn it. Sorry, I was going the wrong way. There's a brake line, the e-brake cable is right next to it, and I'm thinking it, flip the switch. Okay. Yeah, you can see right there, it's the same story on the other side. It's about 3 to 4 millimeters of meat I need to grind off of that. So, same thing. But I still want to get a visual of how much more material I actually need to remove. If I need to go up or down like I did on the other one. Okay. So let's take a look here. Get this last bolt off. bring the cart over here. Come on. There we go. All right, so this one already looks like I had it inward already, so I don't need to undo that. That's good. So let's get this. Okay. Maybe I need to. Yeah, so if you look, I did a really good job on getting it perfectly centered this time, but I need to remove material straight down the middle. So this one was kind of better cut than the other side as far as, you know, the angle and everything, but I need to still remove that like extra 5 millimeters down the center. And then we should be good to go. At least now we understand what's required. And again, I wish I knew. So I probably wasted a couple hours tinkering around with this. Okay. Let's get the pins removed. Okay, just go have at it quickly, you know, it's not wasting any time here. Yeah, you can see how like perfectly centered I did, but I need to come down basically to the edge of the piston wall there, and then we'll be good. The die grinder actually worked pretty well. Almost there. Almost. Okay, so I got the depth down correctly. I just need to widen it out at the base. And then we should be good. I'll get my flap disc to clean it up. That's good. So I'm just gonna get my flap disc there, and I'm just gonna kind of smooth it out a bit, and we should be done. I think there's just one tiny little ridge, a little bump. Let's see, like right about here. The die grinder I need to hit. Right here as well. Yeah, I think that's it, you know. All right, that's good. Let's clean it up. Drop it down and put the pads back in there, and we should be good. Put some more brake lube on the back of these calipers, or the pads. Air compressor should turn off in a minute. Get the bottom pin in first. Like so. The top one in just to kind of make sure everything's squared. Okay. Get this retainer clip. Come on. A little ridge on the pad that the pin gets caught on. Okay, pads are installed. Let's go get this mocked up and see if we got it this time. Well, not all the way in, I guess. I think the, sorry if you can't see anything, I think the rotors on the car, you know, the SRT, are a thicker rear rotor than what the 370Z uses, because there's a huge, you know, provision on the caliper to allow a thicker rotor. And, you know, while this is fine, it's just an observation here. Okay. All right, got it threaded. definitely a burr on those threads. So I need to kind of get it in there by wrench. Okay. Oh yeah. There we go. Let's get the bottom bolt snugged up a bit more before I want to try getting the caliper positioned. Oh yeah, I need to get that flat base screwdriver and move the pad. There we go. Almost there. Okay, so now I'm pushing up to the center of the caliper to get it aimed towards the hub so that it's all the way inward as possible. I'm gonna actually do it on the top bolt. It's kind of funky on the bottom. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Much better. Oh my goodness, how annoying. Yeah, it looks like it shifted a little bit. Let's loosen it up. There we go. There we go. All right, perfect. Perfect, perfect. And remember that in terms of the concerning of the wheel fitment or whether the wheel will grind against the caliper, I had to remove material to bring the caliper more inward, but at the position where it was before, we started, the wheel didn't have any issues with fitment. So with that statement, I'm definitely good with the wheel to caliper fitment. Ouch. All right, bottom is on and top is on. Okay, now we can say we're good. Got the pads on, got the everything's positioned correctly. So now what we need to do is get the brake lines fitted up. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll start right here. I'm actually going to put these back in the toolbox real quick. We don't need these anymore. We'll leave the Sharpie there just in case. But I think we need, I don't know what size is that. It's either, I can't tell actually. It's like I think it's a 14. So let's put some tools away real quick. There's that messed up one. That's crazy. All right. All right, let's figure out what size I'm gonna go with a 14 is my guess. Let's go look at the front and then compare it to the back. So 14 for the front, and the backs are also 14. That's good, consistency there. So like I said, I'm gonna reuse the obviously I'm using the banjo bolt, but I'm going to use the new crush washers that came with the calipers. You can reuse crush washers a few times, but every time you reuse it, you're risking the deformation of it. And it's like, you know, you don't want to risk a seeping or weeping situation with your brakes because you simply reused a copper crush gasket that they're pretty cheap to get, you know. So kind of food for thought there. Okay, so just full disclosure, you know, this is going to be somewhat messy, and it's one of those things of doing brakes. You're going to have liquid spills. Good grief, that thing is on there. I bent the heck out of my S-arm thing. The problem is this is too long, so let me get a shorter one. 14 that is. And I think I'm going to cheat by getting a screwdriver to hold the caliper. So you do it like, not sure if you can see, so you hold it like that with a screwdriver, and then you got a place of leverage to hold on to. Just kind of figuring out where I want to hold it onto, like that. There we go. There we go, just like that. Smart. All right, so like I said, I'm going to use the new banjo bolt crush gaskets, crush washers that came with the calipers, but I'm going to use the existing banjo bolt because it's fitted for this exact, you know, those brake lines. Now, if you didn't know already, brake fluid definitely eats paint, including powder coat. So you'll want to quickly, you know, hurry up and get this going. But when you're done, definitely hurry up and wipe it off before, you know, it starts eating away. It doesn't happen like acid, you know, but it'll happen pretty darn quickly. I'm just trying to figure out the orientation I want to go with here on these, my braided lines here. Come on. It's just, I guess, I'm not sure if it's coincidence or is it common, but the pitch for the bolt on the banjo bolt are the same between Nissan and this Brembo, which is M10 by 1.0. I know that in general, M10 by 1.0 is very common for brake components. I just don't know how far it really, you know, spreads as with other applications. Like I know Ford, I don't think Ford is an M10 1.0. I think they use standard SAE. Not so much with Nissan. Just looking for some glass cleaner, Windex or something to start the cleaning process. Thought for sure. Oh, you know what? I did run out. I'll just use Simple Green. Yeah, this will be fine. Whoops. So, what you want to do is just heavily spray to dilute, you know, the brake fluid as it's been kind of puddling up there. And then just give it a good quick wipe down. You can kind of see. So that's good. Got that one fitted. And then after I'm done getting them all bolted up, I'm going to get my air compressor and we're going to spray all the fluid away because we want to do a leak down test, you know, a visual to make sure that we don't have any outstanding leaks, you know. So just heads up on that. It's never a bad idea to confirm your expectations for what you're trying to work on. All right, let's get the driver's side done. Same thing as before. We are going to reuse the, or not reuse, yeah, I mean reuse the banjo bolt, of course, but use the new crush washers that came with it. So I don't like how long that is. It's super long. Actually bottoms out. I was curious to see how far it went down there and it bottomed out. I don't even know if they're the right ones that came with it, you know. So, all right. Keeping an eye on my battery and the GoPro at 24%. And again, the reason why it's going out is because I got the LCD on in the back. Keep an eye on it. Come on. It's kind of awkward. Okay, got it. Also got my pants dirty. Okay. Oof. That one's coming out quick. Come on, baby. There it goes. There's quite a bit of fluid. It's the shortest line to the master. Path of least resistance, right? All right. Okay, should be it. Just kind of checking out these brake lines. If you're curious, these are the Chase Bays S13, S14 relocation brake lines. They're all banjo bolt fitted from, you know, top to bottom. And they allow me to bypass the factory hard lines, so it's a shorter run. The advantage of that is I was able to get the brake lines away from the manifolds. Manifolds were causing some heat soaking issues, and I definitely wanted to prevent the, sorry, I got some brake fluid on the GoPro. I definitely want to prevent the brake lines from getting too hot. All right, let's get this cleaned up. All right, we're just wiping it down, trying to remove as much of the pooling of the brake fluid as possible. And then we will get the air compressor and blast it off, so that way we can do a leak down test. Make sure there's no leaks anywhere. Okay, so we got that. Let's move to the rear. All right. Okay, that looks good, that looks good. Let's get some paper towels ready. Might as well do this side over here since the cart's here. All right, got it loose. Okay. And let me just make sure I realize where the brake line is, or the fitment. Get the old banjo bolt out. Okay, got the 2 crush washers. Removing the banjo from the dummy calipers. It's hard to imagine that this is like what holds the, you know, the fluid and the pressure is a weird banjo bolt thingamajig, you know, and some copper. Yeah, it's just odd. Copper or aluminum that does this. I know you can't see, neither can I. Just kind of going by feel. Okay, threaded. These don't make as much of a mess as the front ones do. Well, maybe if you drop your wrench and socket. Okay, just bear with me, I know you can't see anything. Okay, so I got that one. One more to go. Let's get this quick spray down. Okay. wipe down, trying to remove as much of the previous running brake fluid. All right. Last one. I guess I'm in the dropping mood of tools, so I guess. All right. I forgot to unscrew the banjo bolt first, which awesome. Okay, got it. Where's the washers? Huh. Did they forget one? I think they did. Bummer. Oh no, there it is, my bad. They were just stuck together. Okay. So right after this, after getting this bolted down and, you know, I think I get the orientation wrong. I need to immediately go put brake fluid in the reservoir before it goes dry. You definitely do not want that running low to where there's air, you know, in the piston bore area. Okay. Almost there. Okay. Got it. Let's get some simple green on here to clean this up. Okay. Okay, we're just trying to wipe up as much as we can from the runs. Okay, that ought to do it. So now we're officially plumbed, everything connected, and ready to do some brake bleeding. All right. So like I said a moment ago, we need to check to make sure we didn't go dangerously low on the brake master. And then we're going to hook up the power bleeder that I have, which makes it a one-man job versus having my wife pump the pedal a bunch of times. Really speeds up the process. I can turn the ignition off on the car. It's been on for a little while. Okay, let's go check real quick. Okay, so I didn't think I had lost much, but half of the reservoir is empty. Now, when I undid the calipers initially, you know, when I removed the silver calipers, I went back and, you know, filled it back up. It didn't get down low, but it definitely lost some in that short amount of time of having it open. You know, quite a bit of fluid came out. So I'm gonna take a quick break, get a drink again, and then I'm gonna use the fancy pantsy power bleeder right here, and you use this attachment to, you know, hook it all up and you know, provide pressurized air or fluid into the calipers, and that way you don't have to pump the brakes. This is your pumping right here. So this is a very exciting tool. I love having this thing. Definitely makes life a whole lot easier when you're doing brakes. They do make a clutch attachment for this. I just haven't got it yet, and just haven't got to that point. But anyways, let me go get a drink, take a quick break, and we'll be back at it. Chat soon. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and put the power bleeder onto the reservoir, and I'll show you how to do that. I actually made another video of how to use it in you know, decent detail, but in this case, we're gonna do all 4 corners of the car and go through all the steps. So I'm gonna go ahead and top this off. Understand that these calipers, they're empty and they are big calipers, so they're gonna consume a lot of volume here. So pretty much fill it to, you know, the H high level, and getting ready to get the whole setup hooked up. No, I've never used this power bleeder yet on a completely empty, like, yes, there's brake fluid in the lines, yes, there's brake fluid in the reservoir, but I have yet to use it on a completely empty caliper situation here. So I imagine it's going to go through a lot. The only question I have to myself that we'll figure out together is, you know, there is that gap of where the pistons and the brake pads need to fill in between, like the rotor, right? There's that dead air area. So will the power bleeder push the pistons where they need to be up against the pad and the rotors, or do I need to go there at like a middle point halfway through the process and just manually push the brake pedal just to firm up on the pedal? I'm gonna probably end up doing the brake pad push with my hand to confirm that, but I'm curious to see if the manual pressure of the brake master, I'm sorry, the brake bleeder, the power bleeder, if it's enough to actually do the job by itself, but we'll find out. So again, in the other video, you know, I highlighted showing that you put this cap on there. It's a universal cap. I wish there was one actually fitted that you would rotate and lock in there. One of these days I'll make one. But anyways, you basically take this cap, you put it over there, it has some chains and some J-hooks, and the chains wrap around the base of the master and comes up, and you got some wing nuts on the J-hooks that you tighten down, and it provides a tight seal. Now, and when I first got it, if you don't have this perfectly centered, this is there should be a rubber surface here. I need to make sure I didn't lose that. If you don't have it perfectly centered, it will leak. So concerningly, oh, there it is. I was like, where's the seal? So there it is. It's got some dust on it. Let me go clean it up real quick. But yeah, you got to make sure that the reservoir, the plastic, you know, lip of the reservoir is completely squared up on this. Otherwise, you're going to be blowing fluid everywhere, and that's what happened. So, you know, expect the unexpected. So here's those J hooks I talked about with the wing nuts, and then here's the chain that drops down below. It's kind of, it seems kind of hokey, but it freaking works, you know. It's actually pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and get one chain link. Oops, you guys can't see it, can you? So we'll go ahead and get one chain link on. I got this heat shield I made to, you know, get heat away from
the master here, so we'll have to carefully snake it down here. Kind of tricky. Definitely tight. I think on a stock application, it's a lot easier. Actually, I know that to be the case, but you know, we'll get it figured out here together. I think at this point I might as well get my magnet and just fish the chain up. Assuming the magnet will actually grab the chains. Come on. All right, got it. All right. Place the magnet out of the way. Okay, so very carefully, with everything in the way here, I'm gonna put this chain on one of the J hooks and try to somehow or another. Everything's so tight in there. Sorry, it's kind of fighting with that coil pack. I just dropped it all. But I need to have the chain go on this side. One way or another, I'll get it. Actually, I'm going to do it this way, and then usually have, it's hard to explain, but I have the orientation of the J hooks in one direction, but with that heat shield I have, it's making it kind of difficult. I'm just going to have to kind of twist it like 45 degrees and go in another direction to get it. There we go, I got it. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Trust me, it's more frustrating on my end than it probably is on your end watching it. And of course I dropped it. Oh my goodness, this is beyond frustrating. Okay. I wonder if there's a better chain set, because the little knots of the chain is catching things left and right in a sense of preventing it from being easily pulled up, if that makes sense. Okay, so sorry, I know it's kind of hard to see. Okay, so got the J hook on the chain hooked up to each side, you know, and at this point we need to tighten it. But again, as you're tightening it, make sure that you get that cap perfectly centered across the reservoir, because you will not be happy if you pressurize it and it starts spraying everywhere, because it will. I've done it before. It sucked. Adjust the camera. So the good thing is, like, once you get it set up, it's like a one and done. Like, you don't have to fiddle with it, like like take it off and on several times. Once you got it, you got it. All right, so just making sure that it feels centered. It looks that way. And I go to town when I'm tightening this thing. All right, that's pretty tight. And it looks centered as far as I can tell. So we'll hook up the fitting here. Probably have to get some new Teflon tape, so if that's what I used. And then we'll do a quick pressure test before we get too crazy with the bleeding. I'm gonna go ahead and get the cart over there because we have some kind of platform to hold the bottle. And I don't want the bottle resting on the cart itself. Putting some things away. I think I left the hook on the rear driver's side. I need to remember to get that off. Okay. Now, I'm not going to bother like cleaning this right now, but definitely going to provide paper towels because it might dribble when I pour. Okay, so before I put fluid in here, I'm definitely going to get the hose on there because I don't want the hose to bind up. So I am going to want to twist the container as I tighten everything up. Next time I take this off, I'm gonna have to clean the threads here. It looks like, let me see if I can get the old stuff off real quick. I don't know if Teflon tape is required, but it's definitely not a bad idea because not only is it holding brake fluid, it's also holding pressure, which again, if it's not tight, it'll spray everywhere. So I definitely recommend that if you get this, use Teflon tape. Okay. There we go. Set the bottle over here. I think what I'm going to do is get a quick disconnect for this. I think they make that for MPT, right? I think they do. Let's see, how do I want the cart? I think I'll have it like that. I will raise the car up a little bit, but I don't know, I'm kind of talking through this. I might have this actually rest in the car, but we'll see. I know when I first did this, I had it on the cart.
Okay, so let me get a couple crescent wrenches. Yeah, I think if I can find a quick disconnect for this instead, that would be better. I mean, yes, I guess I can just leave it connected, but I'm not sure why I actually took it apart. Okay, so now I want to untwist because it's all bound up from being tightened. Okay. So for now, because I'm about to pour some liquid in here, let's not do that. That was dumb. So this bottle is actually brand new. The first bottle I had, I just figured it was safe to keep brake fluid in there as a, you know, continuous supply of brake fluid when I do this stuff. I don't know if there was a defect in it or not, but eventually all the brake fluid leaked out of it from the bottom. So definitely not going to do that again. So when I'm done with this, I'm going to drain it all out and, you know, put it back in a bottle. But I usually fill it at least halfway, this bottle, because it'll go through it pretty quickly. So I'm not going to throw these away quite yet. I might need to reuse them. And actually, I love those Folgers plastic coffee cans, you know. I might pour it in there after cleaning it. We'll see. So when I went inside to get a drink, I was talking to the wife. She asked how everything was going. I said, all I need to do left is to bleed the brakes. And she said, do you need me? I said, you don't remember I got the power bleeder? I don't need your help anymore on that. And she says, fine. But anyways, she was asking how long the video is so far. I'm like, man, it's like 4 hours. She's like, no one's gonna watch that in one spread. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. So what I'm probably gonna end up doing, as I know I said earlier that I was gonna do continuous videos, like continuous clips and compile it into one video. I'm gonna break it up into several parts because I don't think that people will be willing to be watching a 4-hour run of how to do, you know, brake upgrade. So I'll probably break it up into segments. So hopefully I can kind of edit that to where it makes sense. Okay, so it comes with this pressure gauge right there. And I remember the instructions, they want you to be no more than 20 PSI up there. So usually I want to hang out around 15 to 20 in that realm. So when I was bleeding earlier with this, with the CTS the first gen 4 pots, I would do 1 caliper per like pressurized attempt. And then after that I would, you know, pump up again. But in this case right now, before we get started on bleeding, we're going to pressurize this, verify there's no leaks, and then we're going to go have at it. So if you're watching, take a look at that pressure gauge, it's building. We'll get to like 10 PSI before we check for any leaks. That's good. Let's see what's going on. I don't see anything. There's no leaks right here. That's dry. It's dry. I think we got it first try. That's pretty cool. And then obviously you can watch the needle there. Now the needle, I'm expecting the needle to move a little bit because liquid, especially hydraulic fluid, which is brake fluid, it's hydraulic fluid, it will compress differently than air, right? So that's why we have brake fluid and other types of fluid to serve as hydraulic fluid. So like I said, there's gonna be a different compression rates here as we get going. Now I'm pumping this, right? We're gonna go up to 20. We'll do one more leak test to make sure there's no leaks at the master there. But I'm wondering if the calipers and the pistons are actually pressing against the rotors yet. I wouldn't be surprised either way, to be honest. So it's kind of dropping. I went up to like 21. I want to see it kind of land at 20. Slowly going down. And again, that's probably because there's air and things that are shifting around. I don't see any leaks, so I'm good up top. And we're gonna raise the carp a little bit. I do want this to remain on the cart here. I don't want to put it in the engine bay. Like, that just seems like a disaster. So I'm gonna take the empty one away. And then once we get it up in the air, we're gonna do, before we start bleeding, we're gonna look for any leaks from like the banjo fittings and whatnot. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that line. Make sure it's not being stretched. One more click. Let's see if we get one more click. There we go. Bring it down. I'm happy with that height. I'd like to be eye level, of course, but that's not gonna happen. Okay, so I forgot to turn off the car earlier. We'll go ahead and do that now. You can see the lights on. So with any, well, I'm gonna say, I don't wanna say any, I don't wanna be general here. I'm gonna say specifically Nissan, from like the, you know, Datsun 240Z to Z31, Z32, up to the 370Z. What I know, including S chassis, is that you want to bleed the brake furthest away from the master first. Work your way closest to the master. So in this situation, the furthest caliper away from the master in terms of line routage is the rear driver side caliper. And the routing from the master, even though I have these, like, you know, fancy pantsy relocation lines, it's still the same process. So the lines go, the shortest line is directly to the driver side caliper. The secondary shortest line is to the passenger front caliper. Now for the rear caliper, well, let me take a step back. Those are dedicated lines directly from the master. So there's a master, there's a brake line directly from the front left caliper just straight into the master, and same for the passenger. Now in order of priority, the master caliper, I'm sorry, the driver caliper gets priority first. It's not to say that there's a reason. I'm just saying you can't have them all perfectly like hitting the, you know, pedal first, right? It's just, it has to be all in a line, and it is what it is. So driver, passenger, 1, 2, and then the last line goes to a distribution. Actually, it goes, so the line goes to a block that's like pretty much right under the firewall by the door jamb area, and then it goes to a hard line to a distribution T, pretty much like, you see a little bundle of wire like right next to the methanol. It's like right underneath that, and then it splits. It tees off to the rear right passenger side, you know, and the rear left driver side, and the line just happens to be longer on this side. So if you measure the line distance, the line length, this is the longest, that's the second longest, then third, and then fourth, being the fourth being the shortest. So that's the orientation you need to do, I guess the priority order here. So Anyway, before we get started, let's check the pressure gauge here. It has dropped a little bit, and that's okay, because like I said, there's lots of air and things are moving around a little bit. Let's get this magnet out of here. So what I want to do is, let's do a visual inspection, see if there's any puddles, any leaks. I hope not, that'd be terrible. The battery's pretty much dead. That one's good. All right, we're gonna check this one first since we're close to it. I don't see any dripping at all, that's good. Come around over here. How are we doing? Now there is something right there that's concerning. Not sure where it's coming from quite yet, or if it's just remnants. I don't see like a solid drip. It could just be, you know, runoff from when we, you know, bolted things up initially. So I'm just checking things out. Yeah, I think it's just excess runoff. So let me wipe it off real quick. Making sure we're good. Oh, here we go. Hopefully that's not what I think it is. I saw like a little run of brake fluid right here, and again, I hope that's not an indicator of like a crack in the caliper. I don't think so. Oh, it's the bleeder. I can see it. So we need to tighten this bad boy. I can see it's bubbling. Okay, cool. Whew. I thought we had a major problem here. Yeah, simply was not tight. Woo, hoo, hoo. My bad. Sorry about that. It kind of gave me a heart attack. I thought I had checked this, but I guess not well enough, you know. Okay, cool. Let's check the rears as well. Anything down over here? Nope, we're good. On this one, let's check the back of the banjo bolt area. It's dry, that's good. And running my hands along the crossover tube, making sure there's no run, and we're good. So I only missed one bleeder, or two, I guess. So fortunately I caught it, and that would, you know, make sense of why we had a small pressure drop. Okay, so I'm gonna pump it back up to 20. Okay, I just want to check that one over one more time before we get cracking here. Okay, it's good. Good, good, good. Awesome. All right, I'm taking another drink. It's getting late. I'm already wanting to relax and settle down with a beer. All right. Well, let's get started. Now, I have a reservoir that has like a magnet that you hook up to. Oh, there it is. Can't remember where I put it. That you hook up to, you know, your caliper. And this is like the easiest way to visually look. You can see the brake fluid, it's dirty. I think there's a, I can't remember the last Blake. I think I did my wife's car is what I did last, so I was just doing a brake flush on hers. So let's go ahead and drain this out. Man, there's some nasty crud in there. Okay. This makes life so much easier. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So let's change that battery out one last time and we'll be done for the night on battery changes. Okay, we're back. 100%. All right. So I'm gonna bring flashlight and my 2 wrenches. Now, they're all 11 millimeter sized bleeder heads, except for the rear left, because these are remans. They're gonna put whatever they have, you know. So when you bleed the calipers, you want to have your tank lower than the actual caliper, because you want the air to travel up and have like this hanging out point where if air comes out of your bleeder, let me fix the camera, you want the air to ride out higher than your reservoir. So like this is a good example of how you want it done. So when you bleed on a a caliper that has pistons on both sides like this, whether it be a dual pot or a 4-pot or whatever, you always want to start out on the outer bleeder first and then work inward and go vice versa a couple times, because you want to fill up the reservoir, not the reservoir, but the cavity or capacity of the caliper first, right? So that's just how I do it. That's how I read how to do it. So let's kind of get this line kind of situated. I'll have to hold it, I guess. But we already know we got it pressurized. And let's go ahead and crack the bleeder. And what we're gonna see is, boom, brake fluid coming through. Look at that. Can you see that? Bam, it's just gonna start filling up. Okay, so we'll let it do its thing for a bit, or not for a bit, just for a little bit. And then I'm gonna go check the pressure, see how we're doing over there. Okay, so no bubbles right now, but don't think that just because you see no bubbles that it's done. I imagine we're gonna have to do this back and forth a few times to get a perfect bleed, you know. So now I'm gonna work on the inside bleeder. Man alive, it is on there pretty good. So what we're gonna do, let's put the hose through the span or the box end of the wrench, like this. See that? I really don't want to round off the bleeder already, you know. So there we go. So we definitely got more air coming. That's good. Here comes some brake fluid. Now that's obviously not like dirt or nastiness that's coming out of the calipers. Maybe a little bit, but there was a lot of sludge built up at the bottom of this. All right. So what my approach on today's bleeding is going to be is that we're gonna do a first pass like this, where we're just gonna essentially fill up the reservoir, you know, the capacity of the calipers. Then I'm gonna go and press the brake pedal with my hands and then do it again. So I just wanna ensure that there's no cavity or, you know, pockets of nothing there. Okay. Trying to see if I can shake it up to get that nasty sludge out of there. So I don't want to get a false impression that we're getting nasty gunk, you know, from the calipers. Maybe we are, I don't know. But I would like to know with having a clean start. Yeah, that's better. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that a couple times until it's perfectly clear, but that's a way better start. Okay, so before we go pump put the brake line, let's check the pressure. So check this out. We did one and we only lost like, you know, 5 psi roughly. So I'm going to pump it up again to about 20. Cool. So it's a hair over 20. And we're going to repeat the process. Now that we have this on this side of the car, we have a lot more light. There we go. Okay, ready? I'm going to crack it open. And there goes all air and volume and all that fun stuff coming out. So we'll just let it run for, you know, a few moments here. Let's go on with my wrench. There we go. Okay. Close that off because I don't see any bubbles. And we're going to go ahead and get the wrench set up accordingly. Okay, let's get the hose attached, and here we go, we're cracking it. Can you see that? Maybe? I can like feel air coming out. Okay, 3, 2, 1. That feels right as rain. Okay, now let's go shake this up and try to clean off. It's a little better, right? It's not as mucky as it was a moment ago. Just trying to clear out the nastiness. It's getting there. Okay, looking good. It's going by pretty quickly. Let's get this one done. Okay, here we go. Oh, we gotta go pressurize it first. Now these are big up front. I imagine we're gonna lose quite a bit of pressure. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah. Come on. Kind of back and forth like that. Every time I do it, like a little more air comes out.
but I think that's like the sign that I need to pump the brakes. So when I'm done doing this, I'm going to see if the pads have moved inward at all. So I'm curious if they do. Okay, I got the inside bleeder. Okay, there it goes. Okay, let's close it off. See, that's actually looking a lot better. So one more shake. Now I know these are technically like new calipers, and you know the idea of like, well, can't you just reuse that fluid that you're pushing through it? I don't know. I wouldn't. You don't know what was in those calipers before. I think the fronts are actually new, brand new. Unfortunately, they're the Chinese knockoffs. I was told they were remans. I'd rather have reman Brembos than the actual Chinese knockoffs, but I got what I got. But my point is, you don't know if there was any like lubrication or like assembly grease or whatever that they used to assemble these, you know. All right, let's pump it up to 20 again. Okay, well, kind of 22-ish. Gotta be careful. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna do the outside first. There it goes. You can, you know, like in my hand, I know you can't really see, I can feel like gurgling. Like a garden hose when you turn it on. Okay. So I don't see any bubbles now. Let's go ahead and close the valve. Oh, and you know, I know they make those speed bleeders. That makes it easy to do it, but with this power bleeder setup, I don't think you need those power bleeders which had those check valves built into the bleeders. I don't really see a point, in my opinion. I'd rather you guys spend the 60 or whatever bucks that it takes to get this set up than, I think it's like 60 bucks for those speed bleeders. So it's kind of food for thought. Get the power bleeder, the pump action over here. You don't need those check valve bleeders. Okay, we're gonna let that run for a few more moments. Okay. Close the valve. Now, that's definitely the first pass of the bleeding process that I'm gonna do on the car. Let's take a look at that fluid. Oh yeah, definitely clean. Let me shake it up one more time and dump it in the oil thing. Okay, yeah, that's definitely clean now. Sweet. Okay, so like I said a moment ago, I want to pump the pedal, and what I'm going to do to safely pump the pedal, I'm going to just do it with my hand, and hopefully I can do it. The roll cage makes it hard sometimes. is I'm going to relieve the pressure of this situation. I think to do that, you just, I don't see like a button. I just loosen it like that. Okay, so I don't want to cause like excess pressure in there, you know? So now that I got that done, I'm thinking I might need to get like a 2x4. Yeah, because I don't think I can, maybe I can squeeze in here. Yeah, not really well. Let me get a 2x4 and just push up against it. There's some pieces of wood over here. Preferably one that won't give me a sliver. Here we go. And we're just gonna push the pedal a few times and make sure it's definitely getting firmer. I want those pads being pushed up against the rotor already, you know? All right. Okay, we'll leave that piece of wood in there for now. Okay. Let's see how we're doing. So, you know, brake level is full, super full, that's good. You don't want to have it be empty or low, you know. So with that, let's do another inspection. And what I want to look for is I want to see if there's any leaks, but I also want to see if I can visually confirm that the pads have moved. And they are, yeah, they're touching the rotor, so that's good. So no leaks that I can see. All is good, all is well. Let's check the front driver. I don't see anything. Yep, you can see right there how the pads, I'm not sure if you can see that. The pad is, it's kind of hard to show you. Pad is 100% touching the rotor. Very nice. Let's go check the rear. Yep, same thing. Pads are in full contact with the rotor. No drippy drips. That's good. They're loose. They've done their job. No drippy drip. And confirm that the pad has made contact with the rotor. Good deal. All right, let's do another round or two of bleeding, and then we're done. I am obviously waiting for the bleeder caps, but I think it's a fair practice, or you know, a fair wait to just make sure there's no leaks. So I'm gonna, before we call it done tonight, after we're done bleeding, I'm gonna clean off everything and put some paper towels underneath the rotors, and to see if anything drips onto them, you know. That'll be a good indicator that there's no leaks. So let's tighten the cap here again. And let's build up some pressure. Now if I hadn't explained this tonight, I'm sorry, I'll explain to you how this works. Like I said, I already made a video on how this tool works. So what you're doing is you are pressurizing this container. We're going to call it a vessel. You're pressurizing it with a certain PSI. In this case, it's like 20 to 21 PSI. And there's a fluid in there. And
Down at the bottom of this nipple right here, there's a hose down there. And what's going on is when you open a valve, any one of the calipers, the pressure has to bleed off somewhere. It has to go somewhere. And you know, with electricity or even a garden hose or the flow of anything, that the path of least resistance, right? So in this case, right now there's 100% resistance. That's what you want in a sealed hydraulic scenario like your brake lines. You want 100% of resistance. If there was any less than 100, then you got a leak. So when you crack open a bleeder, you are providing in a route of lesser resistance than everything else, right? So the fluid is wanting to escape the pressure, the pressurized vessel. So that's what we're doing when we're bleeding here, was we have this pressure pressurizing the master, and you know, the pressure is pushing the volume or the liquid down into the reservoir. There's a couple very small holes from the reservoir down into the master bore of the master cylinder. There's little pinholes, little tiny holes, which obviously go to the brake lines. So when you crack open a bleeder, it's going to want to go somewhere. Path of least resistance. So we're going to go ahead and put this 11 over here. Yes, it does bother me that I have 3 calipers have 11 and then 1 caliper has 10, but it's no big deal. That's what you get sometimes. All right. So we're going to do the out one for outside bleeder first. Okay, ready? Let's crack it open. Little bit of air came out, not much, but a little bit. Just give it a moment to, you know, potentially work out any additional, you know, air. Okay, call that good. Okay, that one is like done. Let's go ahead and work on the inside one now. Saw one tiny little air bubble. Just gonna leave it open for a tiny little bit. Let some volume get pushed through. Okay, calling it. And let's close up the bleeders. Okay. That caliper's done, 100% done. And I'm not gonna bother draining that into the drum yet until we're all done. Okay. Before I begin, I'm going to go over there and check the pressure. Make sure it's back up to 20. Let's see. Okay. It beats pressing the brake pedal over and over again, doesn't it? So that one had some air. Not sure if you saw that, but it did. Just kind of hold there for like 5 seconds. All right. Close up this one. Nice and tight. All right, cracking open the other one now. Oh yeah, big glurp of air came out. That's good, we caught that. About 5 seconds worth here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. It's okay. Let's get the last front calipers done. Okay. Hook up the hose. And before we crack it loose, let me go check the pressure. Almost there. There we go. Okay, here we go. Couple bubbles, you see that? Couple. I'm going to count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's close it off now. Okay. Just tore a little bit. I have a razor blade on my bench over here. Okay. All right, let's get the rear, or not the rear, but the inner bleeder. Okay, it's hooked up, cracking it loose. Yep, some air came out. All right, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's close it. Okay. All right. Looking good. Fluid's nice and clear. Let's get set up for the next bleeder. Okay, let's go ahead and pressurize it. All right, here we go. Get the hose up top. Well, a little bit of air was on this one. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's close it up. Okay. All right. One more to go and we're done. Like done. All right, all hooked up. Cracking it loose now. A little bit of air came out of that one. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm calling it done for the night. At least I'm bleeding anyways. Okay, so observations. Very clear, clean fluid. Yeah, it's probably good fluid, but I'm not going to risk it. Let's go pour it out. No point in trying to reuse fluid that could have some metal, particulates in there, or whatever else. Not of interest to me. Pretty slick setup. Now, my confidence level on the bleed, like in terms of like, is there a possibility of air bubbles in there? Not at all. Like 100% confident that with this setup, between this simple little bleeder jar and the power bleeder tool that I have, the pump, like there's just no way that there could be any mistake of having air in the system. Full confidence. So I keep that there out of the way. Okay, so we are done with bleeding brakes. So the last thing I want to do before we call it a night, I want to clean off the calipers one more time with Simple Green, take my air compressor and then blow any bit of moisture away, so that when I come back tomorrow to do just a double check, I want to see if there's any visual of any drips or runs, right? So let's go ahead and depressurize this. Cool. And then very successful bleeding. So let me lower the car back down. Gonna release the locks. All right. Okay. Let's unhook the bleeder pump dealio. Loosen up the J hooks. There's a good chance that when you undo this, you might get a little bit of dribble from removing the cap, just from the, all the remaining fluid. So to prevent any additional spillage, I'm gonna get some paper towels and put it down there, so I'm almost guaranteed we're gonna have a spill. The paper towels on the bench ran out. Put some down in there somehow to capture this inevitable spill that's bound to happen. There we go. I'm not sure if you can see that we're loosening the wing nuts of these J bolts. Okay, should be enough slack. So one thing I'll show you is, like, when you remove this, the reservoirs are like full to the brim. So you can't have it be full to the brim. You got to have it be like basically, you see how that's full to the brim? You see where the float goes into that little cylinder in the middle? You need to have it be full at the center of that, or the top of that brim right there. That's the full level. So I think I have a syringe. I've been looking for it to, pull fluid out. And I have no idea where it went. Let me see. I had a hand pump, like turkey baster type thing, somewhere in here as well. But I'll be honest, I haven't seen that in a very long time. Yeah, I don't know where it went. We're gonna do it the old-fashioned way, kind of the ghetto way. Basically, we're gonna get paper towels, and we're just gonna use a sponge approach. Let the paper towel soak it up. It's working. Okay, let's see how we did. Pretty good. Moved quite a bit. I'll do it again. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's probably pretty good. Let's go check the basket filter. Looks pretty clean. Let's make sure we get that float back where it needs to be. I don't know why I even worry myself about the float. I don't have the sensor plugged in anymore, but I guess old habits. Okay, so I'm actually down a little bit where it needs to be. So it's going to top it off. A little bit more. Bingo. Okay. We are full, no leaks at the reservoir. That's great. Okay, last remaining step is to clean the calipers. But for right away, before I forget, I do want to drain this into the bottle here. I just don't want that leaking like it did last time. Let's just avoid a possible bad situation. Right. Yeah, this one will work. And blow it out. It's got a little bit of dust in it. Okay.
Wish the had a, you know, wish this tank had like a handle on it or something. Almost there. Okay. The rest of it should be able to fill it up. All right, I just feel better about not leaving brake fluid in there because, like I said, the first one I had, I don't know if it had a defect in it, but it definitely leaked like after the first 2 usages. So, you know, let's just keep it clean. Okay, now let's go ahead and get the car back up in the air. Piece of wood out of there. Okay, this shouldn't take too long. We just need to do the same thing as we did before. Get simple green, spray it down, let it soak for a few minutes or moments, and then wipe it off. And then I'm gonna get my air compressor here and blow off any of the, you know, excess residue. Okay. Like I said, usually I prefer using like Windex or glass cleaner, you know. I'm happy to see that simple green doesn't show any indication that it's eating away the paint. And the reason why I'm spraying like a lot, because I want to have the cleaner, the spray bottle here, spray and move any like buildup of brake fluid, like to push it away with its own, you know, the cleaner's volume. Okay. So we're done with the simple green. Get some paper towels and start wiping, and then we'll get the nozzle and spray some compressed air.
It's looking pretty good. All right, that one's good. Let's do the caliper here. I mean, it's definitely some kind of filth that we picked up along the way. All right, so wipe off the rotor. Okay. Pretty good. Okay. I was trying to use the same paper towel, wasn't that wet. All right. That looks great. All right, last thing to do before we call it a night is let's clean off any other liquid that might be on there. Let me just do one more quick wipe down near the bleeders. I saw some moisture. Just want to make sure I get it all. Good. Should take care of it. I'll wait for the air compressor to turn off before I wrap up tonight. Let's put some tools away. So, very successful. We didn't have any crazy leaks except for that one bleeder that was not super tight. Glad we got it taken care of before it became a problem. I had like a small heart attack as I thought that the caliper was like cracked or something. Kind of gave me a stroke or something. But overall, guys, what do you think about the that power bleeder and how it's just amazing with bleeding? Like, the only reason why I pumped the pedal a couple times with that piece of wood was simply because I wanted to make sure that the piston had moved a little bit. You know, I didn't want to just trust that the power brake did it all on its own. But I think otherwise, it was quite successful, if you ask me. Quite successful overall. You know, for a conclusion, notes or commentary here, very, very displeased with the brackets, both front and rear. More so on the rear. The guy who makes them took his sweet time getting them shipped out to me. I tried reaching out several times. And I was being nice about it. I knew it was a holiday and I was trying to be understanding. I just said, hey, just let me know. No big deal. I just want to have an ETA of when you might get around to it. No response. So it took a community like Facebook post for him to acknowledge me, which is never really a good sign, if you ask me. But eventually I got him, like I said, no instructions, lots of slop in the design of them to where, you know, I have my trust issues with it. I don't know. It works obviously because I had the same ones on the 89, but I just don't remember it being that hard. Maybe I had more patience and willingness to making sure it worked. I don't know, but again, for the 140 bucks, if you go on eBay right now and you look at $140 to $140 brackets for other cars, Toyota, you know, Chevy, Ford, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not just a Nissan thing. You're gonna see that most of the brackets come with hardware, they come with instructions. If there's any modifications to be done, they come with those instructions to tell you to do so. Now, granted, the front brackets are not perfect either. They had their flaws as well. You know, they had the whole caliper having to be, you know, placed upside down. That was a joke and a half, you know? Like, why is that not included on the instructions? That's something that you do include to make sure that people have a clear understanding of that, because I was about to file a, you know, return for those brackets and gonna go make my own because of that.
But then I saw the blurry picture of the first gen, the 4 pots being upside down. I said, well, let me try that first. And then sure enough, that's what it was. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. They didn't even make a mention of that. But anyways, overall, front brackets, I give it like a, I don't know, 6 out of 10. No instructions that, well, incomplete instructions. Too tight of tolerances. I have to drill them out to make them fit better. The offsetting was not the right depth. Had to use washers, shim it out. Rear brackets, 2 out of 10. I give the guy 2 points for having they be, you know, in existence and being powder coated black. That's all I give. 2 out of 10. They suck. But they work just fine once you get around to modifying them and getting the whole setup done. But I'm really happy that we got the car done with better brakes. I know exactly how they're gonna feel because it's the exact same setup that I have on the 89. And I love the pedal feel. I mean, it's just phenomenal. Did not like the way it felt with the other setup on this car. Too much power, not enough brake. So it's gonna be amazing once this gets done. I'll lower it down in a minute, but yeah, otherwise things are going good in the shop. I got a customer car on its way. It's gonna be a really cool car I'm gonna work on. I won't bother unveiling it until I get it here. I guess the elephant in the room with that shearer up there. Sung bailed on me, guys. Sung quit responding to my calls and texts, and that's not cool. He didn't even pay for the car. I paid for the car out of my own, you know, pocket, and he never reimbursed me. So, you know, I know he comes across as a cool dude, but you don't leave a dude like me high and dry waiting for a response of what to do with a car that's supposedly his. So, pretty pissed off about that. I'm not gonna lie. But fortunately, I already sold the car. The guy wants me to continue doing the work. So, you know, I guess I can say no harm, no foul, but I'm still pissed off that Sung abandoned me, and I'm not gonna make a big stink about it. I'm not gonna go post it on Facebook or Instagram saying Sung screwed me over. This is about as far as I'll go of making a public complaint about the guy. You just don't do that. Now, shame on me for not having him sign a contract, but you know, I thought we were gonna be gentlemen here and shake a hand and get a deal going. But the other thing that kind of pisses me off is this VK56. You know, this guy was persistent about me wanting me to build the motor. So he said he'd have all the money up front, and he almost did, but he kind of had to make payments on it, which kind of sucks, but it is the situation. And then with me having to move from Colorado to Tennessee, it took some time for me to finally get around to finishing the motor. So, you know, on these VKs and VQs, when you have to lash out the cam lifter buckets, it takes a long time. So 32 valve, 32 lifter buckets, it takes some time. All I'm saying is that it probably took me, you know, my own labor, my own time, probably close to, I don't know, 16, 20 hours in just assembly. Not to mention all the time I spent in disassembly, running back and forth with machine shops, sourcing the motor, pay for the motor, having to drive 4 hours to pick it up, 4 hours to go home. And I did all this work for this guy just to have him, you know, hook me up with an intake for the wide body. In other words, I didn't make any money on this motor. Now that's my bad. But now the problem is the motor's been sitting here on a pallet waiting for shipment, and it's been done for like 3 weeks, and I don't know why, or maybe 2 weeks. I don't know why it's not a priority for him to get back to me on getting it shipped. So now it's just kind of in my way. So I have to figure out how to move it. I don't have a pallet jack, but I'll figure it out. But I'm just, I guess, venting here about things not going, you know, well as according to plan. But at least the wide body mostly did. Anyways, but yeah, in a couple of weeks, I'll be getting a different car to work on. It's a badass car. I will give you a hint. It's right-hand drive, and it's a 1983 Z31. Unless the battery just cut out. But anyways, got a cool car on the way I'm gonna be working on. We're gonna be doing a lot of cool awesome upgrades to it. I won't share out any secrets until the car gets here. It's gonna be a badass build, but I have to get it done really quick because he wants it done by the end of February. But otherwise, guys, things are going really well. Keeping Z31 stuff active. I will be relaunching Z31 online pretty soon. It's kind of like a motivation versus priority deal. Again, it's just more of a time thing. I really need to spend time on the website, adding more products, taking away products, updating pricing. Prices change all the time ever since COVID. But yeah, lots of cool things coming. I'm really happy, by the way, that I sold my other two Z31s, the 50th and Shiro. Yes, I get it. They're two rare collector's cars, and they were in both really excellent condition. But guys, if you don't drive them, get rid of them. Don't sit on cars that you don't drive. It's not doing you any good. It's not doing the car any good. Let someone else enjoy the car. That's probably like a mature thing to say, you know, growing up, getting older and wiser. But I'm really happy that, you know, the cars were sold and they're being enjoyed as they are. But now, you know, I get to drive the twin turbo VK56 and the Black Beast. I drive this thing so much and I really love it. AC works great, cruise control, everything about it's working really well. My son and I love going on cruises with it, and he likes to listen to his audiobooks while we're driving. So, but yeah, guys, hope you're enjoying this video so far on the brake caliper upgrade. We're almost done. Got to get those bleeder caps on there. Gonna let the car sit up out here on the lift for a couple days to make sure there's no drips, and then get the wheels on the car, and then I will follow up with making, I guess I will do the bed-in brake, the brake pad bed-in procedure. I might as well do it to wrap up the whole thing. And then I will make these videos, I guess, as a multi-part, like part 1, part 2, part 3, whatever, video for the brake procedure. So anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out with me in the shop. Sorry it took as long as it did, but we got it done. There were a couple complications along the way, figured them out together, knocked it out, but now we're really set up for better braking. And hopefully on my next track day with the car on an HPDE day, it'll perform as I expect it to and not give me some concerns to change my pants. So otherwise, guys, don't forget to subscribe, and we're gonna make one more video attachment to this with the brake bed in and get my ultimate reaction and feel of the new calipers. But please subscribe, like, and comment, and make sure you tell your friends about the channel. I'm trying to grow it. I think I'm doing pretty well in growing it, making lots of cool videos about working on cars, but all it takes is having more content and you guys liking and subscribing. So appreciate you guys hanging out with me. We'll talk later, and then the next addition to this brake will be the bed-in for the calipers, or the pads. All right, guys, take care.